All steps sign up for
Let's go.
You're live.
We're live, no countdown. Nice. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the UnFuckIt discussion. It is the middle of fucking June. Yeah, it is. Well, okay, it's almost the middle of June. It's the 12th. It's close to the middle of June. Because I wouldn't want anyone to say that I didn't say it. The world is completely fucking insane. It's getting more insane every day. I had a very long conversation this morning with our astrology team, and we were again having the whole thing of saying, you know, like, if back in 2012 we could have told ourselves what 2015 would have been like, we would never have believed ourselves. And I said, but it's so bad now that literally, if in January of 2019 you had told me the shit that was going to go down by June 2019, I'd have been, yeah, okay, I'm done. I quit. That's it. I'm done. There's no way. I don't believe you. Can't possibly be. Insanity. So we're going to talk about the weather first, because this is now reached epic proportions. And I know every week I keep saying it, except that every week it keeps getting worse. The stuff that happens is so much worse than the week before that you just can't think you can possibly top it. We've had snow in the south of Europe, hailstorm floods in the south of Italy. And I know that there are the sarcastic Americans and Canadians out there who'll be like, oh yeah, we get hail in June all the time. Yeah, not in the south, in the Mediterranean. You don't get hail in the south of Italy. You certainly don't get hail that's this deep that floods the streets to the point that they have to pull out bulldozers to plow their way through the hail on the streets so that the cars can actually move again. That was 2 days ago. Hail the size of softballs in multiple places in southern Europe. Snow in Spain, and not a little bit of snow, like actual, like snow. Go out, make a fucking snowman snow in Spain. Massive hailstorm in Germany. That again, the hail was the size of my fist and did critical damage, like huge amounts of damage. Another tornado in Germany. We've had floods everywhere. Romania is still underwater. Poor Fred. I think she's in the only dry spot in all of Romania. Most of the Baltic states are completely flooding out right now. We have floods all over England. Ridiculous. Poor Gail's over there going, I'm freezing to death, because it's now gone back to what, like December temperatures, November temperatures now in England. Snow in Canada. Well, I know that's Canadians, and we just expect that kind of shit from them. The flooding globally is now on, literally, when we talk about the four corners of the planet, every continent has got flooding. Almost every country. And if there's not flooding, you have whole areas of Africa that are flooding out, but yet Zimbabwe and Kenya are now in a major drought. They have no rain, and this is the rainy season, and they're now in a food crisis in those areas because they just haven't had the rain. Yemen, massive floods in Yemen and hailstorms in Yemen, floods in Saudi Arabia again, Oman, Bahrain, all the Middle East is flooding out. Iran, 2 weeks ago, there was a storm so bad it put something to the effect of 50% of Iran underwater. Now we've got the storms that are in China. They've just evacuated, like 400,000 people had to be evacuated out of one area of China because the floods are that bad. India has got a heat wave in one area that's reached 52 degrees Celsius, 124 degrees Fahrenheit, and people are dying. Then they had a massive hurricane hit the coast. It's actually hitting the coast pretty much right now. Plus they've got massive flooding, and there's hundreds of people have died. Australia had bloody snow last week in Queensland. I don't know if I don't know if Jules is awake yet. Has Jules joined us? Nope, not yet. She's not awake yet. It's kind of early in Queensland. Snow in Queensland in what was the last week of May is just all over the planet. Volcanoes going off, cracks in the earth opening up. Now the big one, and I don't know if you guys are following this, is in Los Angeles. And this should be the one to me, like this is the one to me that is just like, whoa. All around the La Brea tar pits, tar is leaking out of the sidewalks. Tar is starting to bubble up out of the sidewalks, and natural gas. And I joked at the time, I was like, has anyone called fucking Tommy Lee Jones? Because seriously, that's how the movie starts. And then I had a conversation. I was just like, okay, wait a second. Like literally, the start of the movie Volcano is tar and natural gas coming up out of the ground, the sidewalks at the La Brea tar pits. The beginning of The Day After Tomorrow is huge hailstorms, floods, and tornadoes. That's again what's going on right now. It's fucking tornadoes everywhere. You have the beginning of Armageddon is freaking comets and asteroids coming down, which is again the other thing that we're seeing all over the place. And the beginning of the movie 2012, which again you have all these natural disasters. And I'm sitting here going, okay, if ever there was a proof, if you will, I'll call it proof, that we're living in a simulation and that there is some fucker out there writing this storyline for us, this is it. Like basically the opening scenes of 4 major Hollywood disaster movies are playing out right now across the planet, all at the same time. Completely crazy. And I keep looking and I keep watching and I keep saying, like, no one's talking about it. I just keep saying this for the last few weeks. None of the media is talking about it. None of the meteorologists, none of the agencies like NOAA or NASA, no one's talking about this shit, other than to try and make it look like isolated incidences that are just happening locally, as in the local weatherman is reporting on this. Oh, we had a real strange hailstorm today, and moving right along, traffic on the I, whatever is backed up. No one's talking about it, and when they do, it's global warming. Let's carbon tax. You have to admit, man-made global warming is absolutely happening. So we need to carbon tax everyone. And that's it. There is no actual serious discussion going on anywhere out of the mainstream agencies about what's happening right now. Now, in the States, I want to ask you guys, because I obviously don't get American news up here. I try to stay away from American news. Let's tell the truth. Are you guys getting any coverage on the mainstream news? Not that you guys watch the mainstream news either, but about food shortages, about the fact that there's no crops going into the ground right now in the States. Corn, wheat, soy, we don't want the soy anyways, but that can just stay to the side. But all the real staples, hay. Are you guys getting news reports? Are they talking about this in the States? About the fact that there is just such a huge effect in the food production for the U.S.? Not really. No, not really. So no one's talking about it. And yet, Isn't this the shit everyone should be talking about? Shouldn't the news agencies be talking about this? Like 75% of the corn crops have not been planted this year in the US. 75%. Now, it's not just about your sweet corn that you eat on a nice barbecue on a Sunday. This is all your animal feed. Major animal feed are those crops. It's also bioethanol. So the prices of your bioethanol fuel, if you use biofuels, are about to go right through. We have, hold on. There we go. No.
Hey, Danny.
Hold on a second. Tarana, can you mute? Oh, she got it. She got herself muted. No problem. Yeah, hun, go ahead.
I was going to say, what you can think about too is that there were lots of silos that were containing a lot of these grains and things that because they weren't able to sell it all off in the last couple of years, and those lands got flooded and those silos came down.
Yep.
So
Major mass silos came down. So anything that was left over from last year has also been wiped out. All the kind of storage stuff, the grains, yeah, exactly. Stephanie just said all the grain stockpiles are destroyed. Why is the news not talking about this?
Yeah.
Why is the news not talking about this? This is so bloody serious, and I don't know what the conditions are in, for example, in the central Canada. I don't know. I haven't been following the Canadian weather news so much, like whether we're seeing the same stuff in Saskatchewan and Alberta. This is like a serious problem. And I was saying, we have floods in Europe, like major fucking floods, but Europe is a different beast than America and Canada. It's very different. And how they deal with food supplies here is different. So if there's major floods, let's say in parts of Germany, there are other parts of Germany that are still producing food. There are other parts of Europe that are still producing food. So you've got these huge flooded out areas, but it's an open trade system in Europe. So Romania may be all really heavily flooded, but they'll end up getting their grains from Bulgaria or Ukraine or other places. That's the situation in Canada and America is very different because they do nothing but these big monocrops where you have like an entire state that grows nothing but fucking corn. And when it goes down, there's nothing to replace that with. And this is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. When you have mom and pop type farms that are multi-crop farms, you have a much better chance of a self-sustaining food system. But when you have these massive monocrop farms and all of a sudden you have entire industries, plural, that are reliant on that one food crop, be it corn, soy. Someone mentioned in here, I hadn't even thought about that, was corn syrup. Glucose and fructose. I hadn't even thought of that, and that's in everything. So this is really serious. And I've been saying to all my friends in the States, you start going out and start storing food, start buying up food, start making sure that you've got some food supplies in, because like things like wheat, things like corn, if you use corn flour, etc., this is the kind of rice is going to be a big one to buy, because we're seeing really bad weather in India, in China, which is one of your main importers or exporters, I should say, of rice. They're not having good weather. I just went out, literally, one of our big food shops here every 6 months does their extra large size stuff on sale. And I just went out and bought 4 8-kilo bags of rice. Because it was like, okay, because rice is going to be one of the first things. That's one of the things that does not grow here on this island. It's all import. So I was like, we love rice, so therefore, I got to make sure I have rice. So I literally went and bought 4 8-kilo bags of rice. Well, this is it. Okay, Moksha, you bring up a really good thing. So this is, if from what I'm talking to, when the farm people that I'm talking to, is the seasons have been so strange, and fucked up growing seasons wise. For example, if you have apple trees, or let's talk about one of the earlier fruits, you've got cherry trees or peach trees, and you have an early spring like happened in a lot of areas, and they all bloomed, and then you get a hard frost, which happened in a lot of areas, and they lost all their produce, all their trees. Like they're not gonna have the stone fruits this year they're talking about. Really, Christy? That's awesome. Christy just says, I have a meeting this evening to start forest farming the land at the local church on 11 acres. Phenomenal. And that's the kind of things that people really need to start doing right now. Like it's the time has come to seriously, if you've got anywhere to grow your own food, even if it's on your balcony, the time has come to start getting seeds and making sure you can do this. The prices of food are going to go astronomical this year. And the thing is, having been through this in Canada, when we've had like wheat blights come through and floods, they raise the price of the wheat, and then the next year, even though everything's all back to being hunky-dory again, the price never goes back down again. The price never goes back down again. And we had, I'm trying to think, was it 2007, I think it was, in Canada? There was a huge problem with wheat. And I have a friend of mine who lives in Saskatchewan who's a wheat farmer, and she called me up and was like, go out, buy 10 kilo bags of wheat, go do it right fucking now, get as many as you can, and stockpile. And I was like, what happened? She was like, the wheat board has just announced that there's a massive wheat shortage. They're going to double the price of wheat. And I went out that day and I bought 4 10-kilo bags of wheat. And they were $7.99 a Canadian each bag. 2 weeks later, those bags were $16. 2 weeks after that, they were $20. And the prices never went back down. They never went back down to $7.99 again, even though the next year, everything was fine. And we've seen that across the board with apple crops get destroyed. Oh, there's an apple blight, and they jack the prices of apples up to $2.99 a kilo, even in apple season, and the price never comes back down again. Yeah, Maury, what do you want to add?
I do. You made a comment just a little while ago about things really ramping up, even since January till now, in massive proportions, which I agree with 100%. What I want to say is 2 things. One, you think that's a lot. Wait till September rolls around. That's not all that far away.
No, it's not.
It's going to be even more so. And I'm telling you, this is the time to do what you're suggesting. Actually take steps, not out of fear, but out of just seeing what's in front of you. Exactly,
not fear. This isn't fear porn. It's called being calm and practical.
It is. And this prior to, there's been a hell of a lot of fear porn going on in this world for the last 7 years, at least since 2012. No question about it. And it hasn't manifested, but I'm saying right here and right now, it's time. It is time not to be in panic mode or fear mode, but in clear vision mode, which is what you're talking about. This is real this time.
Calm preparation.
Yep. And I want to share that really. Don't get in panic again. Yep. But I mean, you got to see it for what it is, and it is. And I want to share that from my perspective as well.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, again, guys, you guys all know that I'm an old school prepper. But I've always had a very broad base of friends across the internet. And I've always acted on local information. So, for example, it was the same thing. It was about 2008 when all of a sudden there was something happened in the southern states, and all the peanuts the peanut crops were all being lost. Maybe it was floods. I can't remember. I got a call from a friend of mine who's a peanut farmer who was like, I know you and your kids like peanut butter. Go buy it up. Go buy it up right fucking now. And I went out and bought 5 1-kilo jars of peanut butter. And the same thing. 2-3 weeks, a month later, the price of peanut butter skyrocketed. It went over double. So it just makes sense. Like, if you know shit's playing out, it makes sense. Go in, take what you can, and stock up on what you can before the price jumps hit. That's just common sense. And these are the things, these are little things. These are the things that we've seen over the years, like in Canada, in the States, etc. We see this kind of thing where crops get lost. It just happens sometimes. But now we're talking a broad spectrum loss. It's not just about there was not enough rain for the corn to grow, or there was too much rain and the wheat flooded. What we're seeing now in the spring is really, really serious. So unless there's some magical thing happens and all this land magically dries up and the farmers can get in there and plant, which I don't think they can, you know? Okay, Stephanie just said we've actually had to go to the food bank because the prices of stuff have been going up like 15 to 50 cents on everything. What used to cost $50 on a trip at the store is now 65 to 75, depending on what. They're handing out tons of beans, rice, and pasta. We've said it here, even in Malta. We've watched the price of food here in Malta go up exponentially. Exponentially, and there's no reason for it. Like, really, we live in a farming community. We don't have bad weather. Yet the price of tomatoes magically almost doubled this year. Now I'm really happy. My farmer lady who comes and drives down to our village with her farm truck is back here. It's summertime, so she's back here until November. And first thing I did is walk in and I was like, "Those your tomatoes?" She was like, "Yep, euro a kilo." I'm like, "Yes, proper farm produce. I can actually get it for a decent price." But the prices everywhere across the board are going up, and it's not just single items. So it's not just like, okay, cauliflower is really expensive this year or tomatoes are expensive this year. It's across the board. We've watched the price of meats, chicken, fish. It doesn't matter. All of them have gone up really, really high.
I mean, Danny, it's gotten so bad now, even Coca-Cola is starting to go to mini bottles now. I was surprised to see that in commercials. I'm like, holy crap, yeah. But when you were talking about the disaster stuff, in my mind I was thinking, oh great, now we need Godzilla and King Kong to come along.
Okay, shut up. My kids have been talking about Mothra all day. So if the kids are the ones manifesting this from movies, I'm not letting my kids watch Mothra. They keep asking to watch the old Godzilla versus Mothra movie, and I'm like, yeah, no, you can't do that. Yeah, you know what? Listen, and this is it. I don't have the stockpiles I used to have in Canada. In Canada, I had massive amounts of dehydrated food. I had tons of flour and tons of rice and all the beans and lentils and that. I have like a good stash of some of that stuff. But like I said, my situation here is a little different. I live on an island. It's an agricultural island surrounded by a sea with fishermen. So like, even if our island got completely cut off from the rest of the world, we might get sick of tomatoes and eggplant and onions and fish. But that's what this island does, and that wouldn't stop. Like you just keep growing what grows here anyway. Yeah, a little note to people. This is something I learned about. You see the bulk food stores where you get and they'll have like the big buckets of like bulk food, lentils, or all of this. Most of those stores will actually sell you those buckets when they're done with them. They don't reuse anything that's got certain things that were in them, but they will sell them. Like they wash them out and sell them. Like those are like 5 gallons of peanut butter type buckets. And those food grade buckets are the best thing in the world for storing your food in. The absolute best thing in the world. And if you go to any bulk food place, they'll usually sell them to you for really cheap. Yeah, listen, I'm joking. I've got my water distiller is running continuously right now. Same thing, I'm putting down water. The one thing this island doesn't have is fresh water. We don't have fresh water here. Now, Nick can make air wells really easily. But for example, I've just been like, yeah, time to fill up old water bottles with tap water. So I've still got about 150, 200 liters of tap water out back for things just for like washing in case water goes off. and I've got my distiller going to just have good drinking water. I've got, although we keep drinking it faster than we can make it at this point because it's hot. It's kind of a problem I have. And Pamela, that's always the problem, and that's always the problem when you live in a small space and you can't. And that's you. For me, it's like I said, you make choices of what you're going to stockpile. So, for example, if you really like rice, rice is an awesome one to stockpile because it lasts for fucking ever. And your pound per pound density of how much space it takes up for versus how much food you get out of it is really good. So if you're living by yourself and you get a 1 kilo or an 8 kilo bag of rice or a 4 kilo bag of rice, that's going to last you a heck of a long time, right? My kids don't like beans. They really, really don't like beans. So am I going to go and put in a stock of 10 kilos of dried beans? No, because my kids aren't going to eat it, but they do love rice. So that's the thing that I'm stockpiling, right? Yeah, but Mercedes, like I said, yes, you need plenty of water to cook rice, but getting fresh water, like I said, building air wells is really, really easy. Distilling water, same thing. Even if we had no electricity, we have a solar setup that I could still run the distiller. That means I could literally haul buckets of water out of the sea, dump it in the distiller, and to keep that running 24 hours a day. And it produces 4 liters in 3 hours. Yeah, and I know, Deb, and I do have some dried beans in stock just because I can't help myself. You got to have some beans in stock, lentils and shit like that. I couldn't tell you the name of the brand of my distiller. I can run back out. Have to go out to the kitchen and get another drink anyways in a few minutes, but I can find out the name of it. We just bought it off Amazon. You can't buy them here in Malta. Like, you can't buy one for love nor money. You have to order the Clive ordered. I think his got almost the same brand mine is. They look identical. Yeah, they're just like an Amazon one, and it's like 4 liters in 3 hours is what it does. You just plug it in, clean it, and have to clean it up every time because our water here is disgusting. So it makes a right mess of the actual distiller itself. So yeah, this is one of those things, right? See, look, I keep trying to open the Twitch chat and it keeps closing down on me again. There we go. Okay, I've got the Twitch chat open again. Hi, Twitch. Hey, everyone. And guys in Twitch, if you have any questions and I miss it, Brianna will bring them into Zoom for me, so don't worry about it. Yes, Twitch is being twitchy at the moment. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, so like I said, it's not about being alarmist and it's not about being afraid or any of that. It's just called rational thinking. When you see this much of areas of Europe, of the States, and now you're looking at some of the food bowl countries like India and China where some of your basic stuff comes from, you may not realize it. When they're flooding out like this, it's time to kind of take responsibility into yourself and be like, yeah, I think we'll lay in some stores of some basic supplies. Just so you're not caught having to pay $10 a kilo or $10 a pound for something that usually costs $2 a pound. It's just common sense. It is just common sense. Yeah. It's, with the weather being this crazy, I'm very interested to see, for example, here in Gozo in Malta, what the changes in the growing patterns are going to be. Last year we talked about crops were coming in 3 weeks early, which is unheard of. So now I'm sitting here going, okay, crops are coming in 3 weeks early, but now it feels like our growing season is a month late. Is there going to be another big change? But now we hit June and boom, it's like full on summer. We had no spring. It went literally from like early spring, late winter, straight into full on high summer here. Yeah, Stephanie, it's just common sense at this point. It's just common sense at this point that you've got to look after. Because like I said, no one wants to have to pay. If we already know the prices are going up, one of the big news articles on Zero Hedge about 4 days ago in one state, and I want to say Ohio actually, but in one state, the price of hay went up 1,000% overnight. 1,000%. Now, if you're a farmer and you rely on that hay for your animals, etc., or even you use hay even in the growing to put bedding cover down, right? Imagine that. 1,000% overnight for a bale of hay. That's craziness. And that's going to reflect up your supply line, right? Like farmers all of a sudden are having to pay that much more for hay, and you're looking at the prices. Your eggs are going to go up, your beef is going to go up, your everything is going to go up from there. Oh, Rebecca, screaming deal. Rebecca says, I just got a pressure canner for $25. That's nice. Yeah, Pamela's just saying in Tennessee it went from spring to the middle of summer overnight a few weeks ago, and today it's only 71 degrees. And that's it. You can't rely on the temperatures. A certain person who's purple over there was kind of teasing when her temperatures in England were warmer than what we had here in Malta. That was a few weeks ago. And now she's over there in a blanket because winter came back to England again. It's back to winter again in England. That's craziness. It's just craziness. And we're seeing some of the stuff that's really, really interesting. What was that, Gail? Are you gonna chime in?
No, I was just going to say I've never seen my Muggles page with so many people saying what the fuck is going on. Even they're starting to question now because they just don't understand it.
The locals here, all the Gauzatans are just like, the month of May was the coldest May in the history of Malta. From them coldest May since they began measuring temperatures in Malta. Bar none, and I don't mean by a little bit, I mean by quite a bit. And even the Gauzatans were like, this is crazy. Like, this is crazy. What's going on? What's going on? No one was swimming. Like, literally, no one was swimming. And things like, we've got the jellyfish bloom has just happened here again. And now the temperature of the water in the Med is going up really, really quickly because it's so hot down here. But when we know from ecosystems, right, that, for example, those jellyfish bloom didn't happen in May. But those jellyfish are needed to feed other schools of fish that are moving through the Med in May. But they didn't happen in May. They didn't happen until June. So what happened to all the fish who didn't have the jellyfish to eat? And this is the kind of real subtle changes that we're seeing that we can't even ascertain what the outcome is for a few more months.
It's as if Danny, the planet has a hormonal imbalance. If you know what I mean, it's like hot flashes 1 minute, cold chills the next minute.
Okay, well now there we go. Earl's just set the tone for the next part of our conversation is what the fuck is going on with these avatars we're driving? Because seriously, and we talked about it last week. Yeah, Anne's wearing 2 jumpers. Do you have the heating on though as well, Anne? I've been talking to Anne all week, and I'm in like tank tops and sweating, and Anne's like 2 jumpers. You got the heating on?
Yeah, got the heating on as well. 3 jumpers and a t-shirt.
3 jumpers and a t-shirt, and you have the heating on. Welcome to June in Ireland. It's crazy. So yeah, I want to talk about the physical stuff. There's been some strange shit that has happened in the last week. And You know me, I go and I look at all the physical stuff that I can. Like, okay, are we having a geomagnetic storm? Is the Schumann resonance firing off or doing something weird? Do we have something that we can point to as a physical, perhaps, cause when we see a whole pile of people experiencing physical symptoms? And we haven't had that. Or nothing that you can specifically point a finger to. Like, we know the geomagnetics are still all over the fucking place. There is wild shit happening around our planet geomagnetically every week. Crazy, crazy stuff. And like I said, I just did another interview with Sarah Westall yesterday, which will be out later on this week sometime, where I just talked, we kept it really quick, and we just some of the highlights of some of the things that we've seen. The crazy factor is when you have a broad spectrum of symptoms happening to people of all ages, so not specific age groups, but across the board in all ages. They're happening to people all over the world, and they're happening all at the same time. So I was talking last week, guys, was it last week when I put the post on Unfuckers about this feeling of, I just continuously feeling like there's like a bug crawling on me, or a hair, like one of my hairs is fallen and is just lying on my skin, and you just keep, you're continuously like trying to brush things off, and you're like, and you would think if there was something there that you've brushed it off, and then 2 minutes later it's back again. You're like, what is on me? And you start like literally going out in the sunlight with like my glasses on, going, what is crawling on my arm? There's got to be something touching me. And I put the post in. Unfuckers, I'm pretty sure it was late last week, and it was overwhelming the amount of people who responded, saying, oh my God, thank you. I literally feel like my skin is crawling, from things like feeling like almost like pricks, like almost like a little tiny electrical shocks, to almost static electricity feeling on their skin, to people literally feeling like it's like, do you have bugs in your hair? Several Unfuckers were like, I've had my head searched multiple times because I was convinced there had to be bugs in my scalp. But there's nothing there. There's absolutely nothing there. And again, it wasn't just people in one area or one age group. It was broad spectrum, every age, both, men and women, and it didn't matter whether they were Australia or they were in Indonesia or they were in South America or North America or Europe or Africa. Everyone was having this. I'm sorry, Garth, I don't mean to make you itchy. Sorry, yes, it's like if you say the word lice and everyone starts doing this, right? You just can't help yourself. But it's just one of these, it's a physical effect, and you measure it, and you sit there and go, here's a symptom that a huge amount of people are all experiencing. No one's really talking about it until someone openly brings it up. And then everyone's like, oh my God, I was losing my mind because I swear there's something crawling on me, something crawling on my foot. Why does it feel like there's something continuously crawling on my foot? The other one, and there was quite a few people, is in the last 2 weeks, I have now multiple times felt what felt like someone tapping me on the shoulder or tugging on my clothes, like just like a little, it's like you feel a little tug and you can't figure out, like I turn around, I figure out, I think it was one of my kids, I turn around, there's no one there. And it was the same type of thing. A whole pile of people were like, yeah, I felt that. I felt someone saying they felt someone like pull their hair. The tapping on the shoulder or the tapping on the back, touching on the back of the arm, feeling their clothes being tugged. Like, and you literally feel, like the one time I had on a sweater and I literally felt like it was one of my kids, typical, doing the mom, like mom, as they do when they pull on the back of your shirt. No one was there. Oh, Deb, don't even get me started. I wasn't even going to get into that shit. I wasn't even going to go into that far into the woo-woo, but yes, the shadows are unbelievable. Seeing things out of the corner of your eye, seeing movement out of the corner of your eye, seeing people out of the corner of your eye. And I can't tell you how many times in the last week, I'm pretty sensitive. If someone walks up behind me, you know there's someone walking up behind you. It drives my kids nuts because they can never sneak up on me. Sitting on my desk, sure, there's someone right behind me. Like one of the kids has just walked up and turned around to go say, so what do you need? And there's no one there. And that, again, has been becoming more so over the last few weeks.
Also, Danny, like sometimes at night lately, I can look across my room if I'm sitting on my bed, and I just feel like there's just somebody just standing there, like.
Multiple times, yeah. Earl, I know what you're talking about. We've had multiple instances. I've had with my kids. Oh, Elizabeth, yeah, Sarah was talking about that. Sarah Westall's 3-part series with Deborah Tavares. And did she get, is the latest one just from today? Because she was saying she was just working on getting the next piece of that one out. Very interesting stuff to check into. Definitely some interesting stuff to check into. My kids, the dreams that they've had, the same type of thing, where I've listened to one of my little dudes having a conversation in the nighttime. And I've like kind of sort of woken, like, kind of like, hey, who are you talking to? And it's like, I'm over there, the person over there. And like, you can't see them, but they can see them in that sleepy time. And yeah, I mean, this is my question. Is it a matter of, we'll use that horrible word, which I hate, the veil. This is the veil thinning between worlds. The membrane between timelines or dimensions or however you want to fucking describe that. Is it thinning to the point where we are literally, we've talked about over the years, we've talked about the things that we can hear, the things that we can see. But now we're getting to the point where it's touch, like things that we're actually feeling and sensing as in proximity, like sensing that someone's right there. Is that the kind of thing? Is that it? I don't know. For me, I was looking at the stuff like the touch on the skin. It's like, is that cosmic rays? When you're feeling prickly sensations on your skin, is it that we're getting? Hold on, Dawn is. There we go. Sorry, Dawn, you went all your mic went all haywire for a second there. Is that some of this energy that's coming in, these cosmic rays, the incredibly high UV index at the moment, is that part of the physical sensation? Those are going to have those can have absolute physical effects on our physical body. It's not even a question. Like I said, I went out in the sun the other day to hang up laundry, and I literally was out there for 3 minutes, and my skin was frying, and I was like, wow. 3 minutes felt like I'd had a dose of radiation of like an hour of lying on the beach. Like as soon as the sun hit my skin, it was almost an electrifying feeling. Like it was searing. Like it was like you were being literally burnt by something. And Mr. MBB333 has done another report, and he's been doing the ultraviolet, the UV readings reports. And again, he got a reading of UVC of 40 at ground level. That's impossible. That's insanity. Yeah, Maury.
Question, because yeah. I'm definitely following the flow of your conversation here, Danny. The question you have to really pose to yourself, whether you come to an answer or not, you still have to pose the question. Is this strictly a situation of externals working on us, or is there a bigger story?
Absolutely.
And I don't think any of us are in a position to categorically prove it's a bigger story, but I will offer to you that more and more of us are looking at it as a potential reality.
No, no argument, Maury. Absolutely, I have no argument on that one whatsoever, because this is the thing. You go back to the dreams, and again, the dreams this week, there was another ramp up in a lot of people having dreams, and some very interesting continuity of dreams happening. Again, people from all over the world dreaming similar things, waking up in the dream time and having just crazy experiences. And I've had a few of them in the last week, like just some real crazy shit happened in the last week. Is that again, whether you want to call it, we've hypothesized for years that when we're sleeping at nighttime, we're not here, we're working on another realm, we're at another level, our consciousness is elsewhere, not this physical reality. Is that the interconnectedness? Is that the piece that brings it all together, where we're looking at, again, the thinning of that membrane, if you will, between worlds? Is it?
I would offer something on that one. We're each going to have to look at it individually and see how we individually respond too. Now, it's not a one-size-fits-all answer.
Yep.
That's the one thing about it. All right, I'll proceed. Which makes you feel better is the answer, because if you limit yourself to strictly externals, like be it cosmic or be it just the earth bubbling up, or being it the fucked up politicians screwing everything up, that's the 3D, so to speak, answer.
Yeah.
And what that does is make us individually weak, because it's been the story of humanity for the last 10,000 years, for all we know.
Yeah.
We can't individually fight them; they're too strong, too powerful. Or is it the other alternative? And if so, you'll settle on something, and not everybody's going to settle on the same answer.
Yep.
But you got to look at it in those terms, and if you start looking at it in those terms, I will offer to you an answer will come, and it won't be from somebody who wrote a book 5 years ago either.
Well said. Yeah, it's not something you're going to find in the newspaper either.
No, either.
But it's also a balance point, right? Like for me, I look at the balance point because and God knows, you can ask Anne, the conversations her and I have had, especially this last week, where we're looking at the woo-woo. We're looking at the other side of that membrane, at the other side of the mirror, if you will. There's the balance point, though. There's always the balance point between the two. And for me, it's like I've said, when I'm talking about prepping, and I'm not talking about fear porn, I'm not talking about trying to get people all freaked out. Common sense says when you have massive floods, you need to put down food to make sure that you can get through whatever the price point is going to end up being. Because this thing here lives in this here, in this 3D. This avatar lives in this 3D. This body lives in this 3D and has to deal with the shit that comes at us from this 3D. Now, the flip side of it is, as you've said, consciously, we know we're not just 3D. Consciously, we know that there's way the fuck more going on. Or let's not say we know, let's say we surmise, we feel that there's this much more going on. So it becomes a balance between the two. I think living in too far in either one or the other is unbalanced, and that we need to kind of have that foot at the moment kind of in both worlds, because we are in both worlds. We are in both worlds. It's a conundrum. It's a conundrum, let me tell you. Now, okay, and Peg was just saying her husband got up one morning last week and his right shoulder was all clawed. I don't even think he could reach that spot by himself. It looks like fine marks that a cat might make, but there's no cats in the bedroom or in that end of the house. Those kind of things. Waking up. How we've been talking about this for years. Waking up with bruises when you know you haven't hurt yourself. Waking up. That one morning, like last year, I woke up with a bloody, almost a black eye. And you sit there going like, okay, I know I didn't punch myself in the night. And I'm pretty sure if I hit myself on the face during the day before, I would have remembered So this is it. This last week, the amount of pain, physical pain people have been in. I woke up one morning late last week, and I had my entire neck in spasm. Right from my head, directly down my neck, into my shoulder blade, and it took Nick working all day to crack my neck and my back and get it back into alignment, and then working on the muscles to just loosen it back up again. And the next day it was much better and went on. Last night, I had another night, and I wanted to ask everyone about last night's sleep. I couldn't sleep last night. I couldn't sleep. Nick couldn't sleep. We were doing we had the air conditioning running in the bedroom. It didn't matter. It was like hot. It was like you were having hot, and if you put the sheet on, then if you took the sheet off, you were cold. Hot and cold, both of us. Couldn't get comfortable. No matter what position you were in, it did not matter what position, didn't matter how many pillows I used. I could not get comfortable to sleep. In the middle of the night, I woke up with a calf cramp, unlike anything I have ever had before. I actually woke up screaming. The pain was so bad. And it took everything to get the cramp to go away. And pregnancy calf cramps, been there, done that, have 5 kids. This was unlike anything I've ever experienced before. And all day today, I've been really hard time walking, because if I go up, I tend to walk on my tippy toes. I walk on my tippy toes. And every time I'd start to walk on my toes without thinking, the cramp would just start. Got up in the morning, dealt with it, like, oh, I'm hot, my calf, got a coffee, had a smoke, sat here, went to stretch. I'm not going to do that motion. I went to stretch, you do in the morning, first thing, big stretch, and put my entire mid back into spasm. This is like literally no more than about 4 hours after the calf had been in spasm. I got up. And I still am, as I said, I don't know how long the show's going to be, or I may have to stand up for part of the show because I'm having a hard time sitting for any length of time. And so I start talking to people, and people who are saying, like, I had massive calf cramps. Oh my God, I had lower leg cramps, lower leg pain, pains in the shins, pains in the calves, the knees, the ankles. And it's across the board, again, on all these people. Injurious type feelings, not necessarily you have calf cramp, it's because you're magnesium deficient. It feels like an injury. It feels like something you've done. Pardon me. I think something just tried to fly up my nose. The back problems, again. I just actually thought about this. Nick last week was working out, and he ripped a bicep muscle. Now, Nick works out 6 days a week, and he's extremely fit. And he was working out next to me. We were all watching a movie, and it just popped, and the same thing. And the entire muscle of his bicep just was completely all spasmed out, and it took 3 days of heavy-duty work to get the bicep to contract again properly. These are people, like, for Nick to do that, like, that's fucking crazy. He's someone extremely fit. He doesn't do these kind of injuries, and it just pop. So what is it? Again, we know we're nutrient deficient. We know. We've had all the conversations with people like Ben, and we've talked about the soil and the fact that our foods are nutrient deficient. Therefore, we are nutrient deficient. But does that account for a whole pile of people having the same problem in the same week? Like, how many people was it here in the chat when I said I had the calf cramp? There was at least 6 or 7 people in the chat who were like, oh my God, I had the exact same fucking thing happen to me. So, and again, I go looking at the geomagnetic. I look at whatever charts you can kind of come up with to try and say, okay, is there a physical aspect that could be causing this? I have no idea. I have no idea. But it has been an entire week of people, well, a couple of weeks really, but of people talking about the fact of, like, stabbing headaches that come out of the blue for no reason. Just boom, all of a sudden you've got like this blinding pain in just one area of your head. For me, it's been my right temple. Stabbing pains. And it's been several times a day over the last 4 days. Up in here. Stabbing pains in the body. Out of the blue. And you're not doing anything. You're just sitting there. And all of a sudden you have a stabbing pain in your arm, in your leg, in your hip, in your back. So this is one of those things. When I look at the stuff that's going on, when I talk about it being epically insane, I'm not just talking about the politics, which we are not getting into tonight, because seriously, I can't even fucking deal with that shit right now. Finance, same fucking story. Holy shit. Looking at the physical, just the tangible physical, the weather, our physical selves, how we're feeling. Yeah, no fucking politics tonight, Deb. I'm just not even going there tonight. I am not going there tonight. Same thing with the financial stuff. I'm just not going to. It does not exist tonight.
Hey, may I ask quickly,
Yeah,
the people who got cramps last week and this week, I know it's a stupid question, but did you try and stay hydrated?
Oh,
because,
yeah.
Because over here I noticed something. We had a lot of rain, right? But we also had at the same time a lot of drought, so to speak. So it could rain all morning, and in the evening, all the moist is gone.
Dry.
Yeah, exactly. It's bone dry again.
Yep.
So I had like the sensation a couple of weeks ago when we had like really good weather, when you could take out shorts and t-shirts and shit like that. I had the sensation in the sun that it felt like a little bit different. Like back then, the sun heated the air, and what's left of the sun rays that hitting you were heating you up. But this felt like more like the weather was kind of cool-ish, but everything that got in contact with the light was heating up a lot. So I thought it might be maybe related to dehydration sometimes, because it seems like that this sort of light takes out the moist really quick.
It does. And we are, considering we are an island in the Mediterranean Sea, we have been so dry here. And I don't mean as in no rain. I mean just that the air is so dry. We're running right now at about 40% humidity.
Exactly.
Malta,
you should have.
It's 70 at this time of year. 70-80% at least. At least.
Exactly. You're surrounded by ocean. You should have a good climate, right?
It is to the point where your lips are cracking. Like, it's so dry. I put on lotion and your skin just sucks it up. But again, hydration is one of my biggest things. I have for 25 years in all my travels around the world, I have ranted at people about dehydration and the dangers of dehydration. I drink a ridiculous amount of water. I have upped my salt intake to balance the water out. It does not matter. It doesn't matter how much water you put in your body, you still feel dehydrated. And again, this is another one of those things. It's been 4 months now. And I talked to my buddy who's the scientist in Australia, and he's talked about that and said, like, this is something everyone's seeing. And I'm going to like start making my dehydration drinks, which are lemon, sea salt in water, and like large quantities, and just suck it, trying like basically saying 8-ounce glass, suck it back. Wait 2 hours, 8-ounce glass, suck it back. Making sure that you stay hyperhydrated. But it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter how much water you put in your body. The feeling of dehydration is still there. And the symptoms of dehydration are still there. Nails, hair, things like, like cracked lips, because the air is that dry. And even places, like I said, like where I am, there's no reason for it to be this dry. It's never this dry. And yet all winter long, it was the same, extremely dry. Mercedes said, I felt like that here in Barcelona 2 years ago. I felt like there was a machine hovering and sucking the humidity out of the area. That's exactly what it feels like. That is pretty much bang on exactly what it feels like. The air just feels like it's had all the moisture sucked out of it. Now, think about this. Okay, there's an interesting little, if we want to talk science, the air feels like it's being, all the moisture is being sucked out of it, and yet we're having massive flash floods all over the world. Well, the water that's flooding down has to be coming from somewhere. So is this a case of literally like the atmosphere is sucking up these massive quantities of water from the ground level, and then it's just being deposited? Poof. How many people have seen the pictures of these? What do they call them? Dawn, you posted one a couple of weeks ago, where there was like the big black cloud, and there was the photo. It was over, I think it was over Houston or Dallas,
Like
and it was just
rivers
like
in the sky.
bomb. No, a rain bomb. Is that what they
Rain bomb?
call it?
Yeah.
Rain bombs, and the cloud just goes and goes boom, and it's like someone just throwing a bucket of water down. There's no lead into it. It's just a boom. I'd never seen that shit before, ever, until this last year. So is this what we're seeing? Are we seeing some kind of weird atmospheric shift where all the air at ground level is being sucked up, and then it's just, being shifted and moved around, and then poof. Okay, Twitch. Danny, have any new people moved into your neighborhood? I live in a seaside resort town. It is nothing but an influx and constant influx of new people moving in and moving out, unfortunately. It's not the normal type villages that you'd usually have. It's always influx. So I'm trying to catch up with the chat now. It's like, Okay, funny. Okay, Clive, you just said about your aircon. Last summer, we have a little portable air conditioner unit, and it sucks the air from outside, and it's got the hose, and you have to have a big gas bucket on the floor for the hose to feed the water into. Last year, in the summer, we had a 10-liter bucket, and we would empty it out just before you go to bed, and first thing in the morning you had to switch the bucket, because in the nighttime, in the course of sleeping, it would fill that 10-liter bucket. And I can't even tell the couple of times when we slept in and you woke up with a flood of water on the floor because it overflowed. I put on the aircon 2 nights ago. Not a single drop of water in the bucket. Not even one. Last night, ran the aircon all night. That much water. That's it. Like, I'm talking a centimeter of water in the bottom of the bucket. That tells you the difference that we're talking about when you talk about humidity levels.
It almost feels like I said before, like as if someone new is in charge of the weather manipulation, or someone who has been in charge has been shut down, and now some other forces are in the play with their, let's say, not so strong techniques or something. I mean,
Are you talking planetary or extraplanetary?
I mean, if the planet is a system, right? If I take something here, something else, somewhere else reacts, right?
Yep.
Like, interesting would be which areas have been blessed these days to find out if there is something to it or not,
But this is the thing. This is what I'm saying. There seems to be very few balance points on the planet right now. It's not like, for example, 2 years ago, we had the droughts in California. Sorry, I got to get my hair off my neck. I'm like dying of sweat here. 2 years ago, there were the droughts in California. So California had these massive droughts. It was dry, etc. But in other areas of the states, they had good amount of rain. Everything was great. Everything was growing really, really well. So you have a balance point. Now it's not that way. Now it's extremes on both sides of it. Like, there is no balance point. There's very few climates that we're seeing right now that are acting normally. Now, ours, like I said, where we are in the Mediterranean, it's, how do we say that? It's not radical. We're not having radical, like massive floods or massive droughts or anything like that. We have the more subtle changes going on, i.e. like the winter staying until the end of May. But for a lot of places, what we're seeing is that it is extreme. It's like ridiculous amounts of flooding. And if it's not flooding, it's hail, or it's hail and flooding. Or hail, flooding, and snow. And other areas that are dry are not in the areas that should normally be dry. I'm trying to catch up here, guys. Sorry. Oh, I'd forgotten that. Okay, and interesting. And just put up as a homeopath. Just looked up the provings for the South Magnetic Pole, and a beating in the muscles of the legs on sitting down and after walking, cramps in the sole of the foot when bending the foot backwards, cramp-like drawing pains in the calves, cramp pain extending from the left tarsal joint beyond the knee. Stretching did not relieve the pain. I'd forgotten that, Anne. I should almost pull that proving back up again and have a look at it. You and I looked at those about a year and a half ago, all the North Pole and the South Pole magnetic provings, magnetic pole provings. And so again, you go back to, it was like, okay, well, those are very, very blatant electromagnetic symptoms. So is that what we're seeing? Skin tingling and itching as well is another one of the provings. Yeah, exactly, on the South Pole proving.
That's damn interesting.
So what do we know? We know the magnetic poles are all over the fucking place. We know the magnetics are all over the place. Okay, hold on. Do I still have it sitting right here? Oh, I just hurt my back again. Damn it, I just cleaned up all the homeopathics that were on my desk. I just get really bad where I just keep collecting them. I pull them out of my kit, and they end up with like a shit ton of them, and I just put them away because I had the South Pole proving right here on my desk right up until last week. Damn it, what a time I picked to fucking go and move it. So, very, very interesting. Okay, yeah, so there you go. Anne's just put the link in there in the chat. I'm going to copy it from here, and I'm going to drop it into the Twitch chat, so if anyone's on the live stream can see it on the Twitch chat as well. And that is the Polar Australis proving, the homeopathic proving for the South Pole. Yeah, I'm going to have to look into that again, Anne. We're going to have to take another look at that, because I remember that the prickling of the skin was one of those, was a really big one, a pricking of the skin. And again, these are the things that we talk about. You don't think about this, but
I had that on the back of my arms and on my back. Like something kept touching me, and I didn't know what it was, so I just didn't. It was just funny when you brought it up. I was laughing because I was like, oh, shit, I should have said something.
Well, and that's what everyone's reaction was in Unfuckers too, of like, yes, oh my God, yes, like this feeling, yes. Okay, I'm gonna grab this one as well. Anne's dropping links in here, so I'm just copying them and dropping them up here in the Twitch chat as well, so I can see them. This is the thing, right? So, yes, okay, we're going to go back to this again, just like last week. We talked about chemtrails and HARP and these scalar weapons and 5G. The first thing a whole pile of people said, all these physicals, oh, 5G, it's 5C. All these physicals things, oh, it's 5G. And I'm like, yeah, we don't have 5G on this island. We have no 5G in this country yet. They're still negotiating with China. Because China's going to do the 5G here in Malta, believe it or not. A lot of the people, a good portion of the people who are having physical type symptoms don't have 5G. There's no setup for 5G yet. So no, it's not 5G. Chemtrails? Sorry, say again, Dawn?
Don't you wish you had a swivel in the bottom of your bed where when the magnetics change, you could just swivel one way or the other, and so you like got it right.
Just reshivel my. It's got to swivel the magnetics. They have like a magnetic. Hey, listen, they sell magnetic mattresses. I actually did some research into it, and what was that one we were talking about? That was about 8 months ago. In the magnetic therapy, and there's a doctor out of Japan who has developed a bed that has got the magnetics. Actually, the magnets are in the bed to keep the magnetic fields in your body aligned and balanced. And he's had some really incredible results with it. And one of the big ones is pain. Remember, okay, 0 kP. One of the first symptoms on 0 kP. 0 kP is a measurement of the geomagnetic field. 0 is being the lowest level. Is pain. Undiagnosed physical pain is one of the very first things that's in there.
Hey, I'm going to say this because Anne's listening, but I have one of those, in my years, I've bought a bunch of gadgets, but I did buy one of those badass biomats with all the stones, and, the guy won the Nobel Prize for making this thing.
Oh, I don't know that.
It's extraordinary. It's very long, and you lay on it, it's jeweled out with stones, and I'm sure Anne knows what I'm talking about. And so I think I'm going to pull it out and lay on it and see if it makes a difference, because, yeah, it's called the biomat. Anne will know. I knew Anne knew about this. This guy's Asian, so when you buy one, it comes in one of those badass suitcases with the wheels, and it like folds all up into this big suitcase. It is awesome.
Oh, cool. Well, take a picture of it. I want to see what this looks like. When you pull it out, dust it off, I want to see what it looks like.
Yeah. That's one of the things I didn't sell. I kind of sold off a lot of shit.
Okay, so in the Twitch chat, Anonymous, the Earth changes are the signs of the coming flyby the Nemesis star system. That'll set off the pole shift. You could be right. And that's one of the things I've been revisiting, reviewing a pile of information for the last 8 months, again, about Nemesis and of course your Nibiru, et cetera, et cetera. It's a piece we have to put on the table. We have to leave that piece on the table, because there are too many symptoms, too many things, for example, geomagnetically, when I'm watching the charts and I'm seeing the movement of the geomagnetic fields, and they're obviously being pushed in one direction or another, then you know what? You have to sit there and say there's obviously something else affecting. It's not just here's our planet, here's the sun. There has to be another element in there that is morphing and warping these magnetic fields. Yeah, Maury.
I got an answer for you, Danny. It's not either or, it's both and.
Yeah, you can. But this is the thing,
that's
right?
Cliche, but that's the way I just said. It's both and that's one of the things that just kind of flooded in. So you're both right. You all that physical Nibiru or all those other things that we're talking about, yes. But at the same time, that extraterrestrial woo-woo stuff, yes, also.
Well,
it could very well be all of it, because it's a cyclical.
Well, remember what we say: as above, as above, so within. So what we see happening there is happening within. We're all feeling it. It's mirrored.
It's fucking crazy, is what it is. Call it what it is. It's fucking crazy.
It is crazy.
It is.
You just ain't gonna say, okay, it's this or that.
Fucking
It's both and. I'm sorry, folks. That's the answer.
Okay, well, listen. Anonymous just said something. To be very careful with the PEMF devices. Can you clarify what you mean by PEMF devices?
I don't know.
And he said, yes, I understand they do help relieve pain and can help with a lot of stroke patients, but they do very bad things to your non-physical bodies. Okay, bingo. We've had over the years contact with multiple people with various frequency machines, various of all different kinds. So like a Rife machine, all these different things. And prior to that, Nick, hold on. Nick had a frozen rotator cuff, and our chiropractor also did acupuncture. He convinced Nick to do this acupuncture, and he put all the needles in, and then he put the electricity through it. And the moment the electricity started going through it, Nick literally went, I've never seen him lose color so fast. He went from normal to white. And and the sweat literally burst out of his skin. Like it was out of every pore of his body, started just profusely sweating. And he was basically, get it off, get it off, get it off, take it off right now, take it off. And our doctor immediately turned the electricity off. And Nick, it took him several days to recover from that. We've had all these practitioners that we know who've come in with all these various machines. Nick can't have any of them touch him. Anything that produces any kind of frequency, the moment he goes near them, he literally gets violently nauseous and starts almost like the sweat, everything. And one of the comments we made, is that he said it's like it doesn't even have a chance to affect the physical. It's that quick. It's that literally he in the non-physical, if you will, and within his own energy field, the moment they are turned on, it is the most horrific feeling to him ever. So, and I'm the same. I've had certain people who've gone and used certain different frequency machines. One, I had a treatment done on my feet, and they were, oh, this is going to feel so good, and it works all these ways. And it literally, I was like halfway through it, and I was like, no, you got to turn it off. You just have to turn it off. I can't do this. This doesn't feel good. Doesn't feel right. So I'm extremely cautious with anything that uses frequencies, electricity, etc. Because, yeah, but Mercedes, you're right. It could be on the wrong frequency. But this was, I'm not joking when I say we have known 6 different people who work with these frequency machines, who are all professional practitioners from all over the world, and it was all the same effect each time. So there's more to it, and that's why I'm saying I am always extremely cautious about anything that is. Oh, okay, so Anonymous just said, hold on, the chat's gone here. Is the magnotherapy devices okay? And that's why I haven't done it. Honestly, I've never actually gone and played with the magnets, because of the fact that we are a complex organism. I mean, literally just in the physicality, we are a complex organism, and we do not, science does not, doctors do not comprehend this physicality that we have. They don't comprehend how it works. Hence the fact of why they keep doing the shit that they do to our bodies in the act of curing people. When you add on to that the fact that we know that these bodies are so much more. We talk about our own personal magnetic field, which science doesn't comprehend. Our own electrical field, which science doesn't comprehend. Let's say Western science anyways. Add on to that the auric field. Add on to that the field of consciousness. Add on to the fact how each and every one of those fields interacts with the planetary magnetics, electrical, with each other's magnetics and electrical fields. This is a very, very complex, interactive system. So that's why I'm always very, very leery about altering one aspect of that interactive system, whether it's electrically, frequency-wise, magnetically, etc. I always research it. For me, like I said, the magnetic stuff is very, very interesting when we see, for example, like what Anne posted, that all these provings for the South Pole, magnetic pole, and then we go through the physical symptoms we're going through, and they fucking are like almost a diagram perfect to that. So we can hypothesize and say, okay, well then these magnetics are obviously having a physical effect, which is why perhaps we are feeling these things. I'm not comfortable thinking that anyone has the right answer on how to treat these things, though, other than homeopathically, which then is working with your own energy to adjust, if you will. It's not applying a physical external magnet or a frequency or electrical source. Yep. And it's interesting. I mean, I've seen amazing things done with frequency machines. I have seen amazing things done. One guy, and my dad met this guy, and he was, oh God, this would be about 10 years ago. The guy was from India, and he had developed a machine that was a plate on the floor, like a metal plate that you stood on. And the guy applied, like, I think 3 little electrode type things to you. So, like, say 2 to your head and maybe 2 to your shoulders, something like that. And the machine could give you a printout of every medical aspect of your body, every sickness, every deficiency, every problem with your body, everything. And my dad is the consummate, critic and going like, yeah, pessimist. And he stood on the machine, and the guy was adjusting all the stuff, and he looked at it, and he was like, oh, you had your gallbladder removed? And my dad was like, yeah. And the machine picked up right away that his gallbladder was not there anymore. And the machine solely worked on frequencies. And the computer read the frequencies as it moved through the body and then told you what was wrong with your body. It was the same thing. This machine picked up that my dad was diabetic 5 years before my dad was diagnosed as being diabetic. It picked up his blood pressure. It picked up his heart condition. It literally every single thing. My dad's teeth. He had a problem with his teeth. Every single thing. Mercedes never went into production. The guy was desperately trying to find someone who would finance it, and my dad's boss was kind of interested, which is why he sent my dad in to go and talk to the guy. And it would have actually been 10 years ago, because it was right at the fall of when the Dubai stock market crash happened in 2009. And my dad's boss was from Dubai, and the money was gone all of a sudden, so it was never invested in. And the last my dad heard was the guy never could find a proper investor that did not want to take control. Like, people wanted to buy it from him, but then they wanted to take control of it. And he wouldn't do that. He was like, no. I want investors, but I maintain control because I need to put this in production properly. Not basically, he wanted to cure people. He didn't want it to be used for nefarious reasons. Why you guys are talking about broccoli? What? Well, you missed the chat and you turn around and was like, all of a sudden everyone's talking about broccoli and arguing about how to spell it? I'm not sure. You guys are a riot. Yeah, I have no answers. You know me. I'm just the person who asks all the questions. I don't ever have any fucking answers. All we can do is keep looking for them. Just keep looking for whatever answers we can come up with. I don't know. I know nothing. Oh, you guys are cracking me up. You're all cracking me up in the chat. You're a very big distraction in the chat right now in Zoom. Seriously, you guys. You're cracking me up, though. And that's why everyone wants to be a member, is see an Unfuckers member, so that you can have access to be in the Zoom chat, so you can see what these crazy people are actually talking about in chat, because, oh my God, you guys are being nuts. You're welcome, Danny. Yes, I love you guys too, even if you're all crazy and distracting. I don't know. We're not talking politics. We're not talking finance. Does anyone else want to bring any other of these crazy fucking topics up for the moment? So I can roll a cigarette? Someone else talk for a while. I want to roll a cigarette.
Well, I just say I'm just trying to go with the flow myself as much as possible. And oh, it's so nice when you can actually just have a clearer head. Actually, I'm enjoying it more, not having any mental chatter that's unnecessary. And so you become more aware of that. It's like, I actually like the inner peace of that inner peace of that.
Well, if you ever figure out how to do that and tell me, because I'd love to, because I have no mental clarity and the chatter just never stops.
I can't, well, what you just said never stops. Yeah, mine, how can I'm going to say, man, maybe mine just ceases to be less chatty, but let's face it, when you're focused on something, and then you can actually, after so long, you realize, this way, it's like, I don't have that mental, the distraction, that chatter, that distraction, and when you really focus, it's like, it really is. It should be amazing, but it should be amazing. But I guess it's like the powerfulness that's within the powerfulness.
I'd like that.
It's
I'd like
amazing.
that.
You learn to do it when you meditate. It's one of the things you have to learn to do is to quiet the mind.
And that's why I don't meditate, darling, because I've never yet found a way to shut the mind fuck up.
I did in the 90s.
I went through all day with the theme song for Phineas and Ferb playing through my head all day long. All day. And that's just because I read a meme that mentioned Phineas and Ferb, and that just set the song off playing in my head.
It's taken me a really long time to get there, honestly. And even then, I have to fight it sometimes. I mean, it's like I'm talking to my fucking ego, my ego self. Shut the fuck up. And then it'll just shut up.
Well, I have tried for many years, but I've never ever found a way to actually stop the background noise, and that's the way my brain works, and that's where I get my information from sometimes. It's the background noise, it's in my head. I start taking note of what song's playing in my head, and almost always it's, well, except when it's in the theme song of Phineas and Ferb. A lot of times, if I'm asking a question of myself and a song starts playing, it's relevant to the question I've asked, and I've just answered myself, so.
Yeah, and what you just said there about if I can remember what it was. You said something that struck a chord with me about, just keeping a notepad next to my bed, next to the bed. Yeah. If I wake, it was like those things that you said, Dita, just the messages or whatever you get, the information you get, where that comes to, that's what I do. That's one reason I keep a notebook next to me when I'm sleeping. If I wake up with something, I'm going to write it down. If I have to retain the memory, I'm writing it down.
I try to. It's so virtually impossible. I sleep with a mosquito net around my bed, so it's like, I have no way of like reaching around shit. By the time I've fought my way out of the mosquito net, it's gone. I said I wanted one of those little, do you know the old little pocket recorders from like the 80s and the 90s secretaries used? But like little cassette tapes. I don't want a fucking digital one, because everyone was like, oh, you can get that for your phone. I'm like, no, because then you got to go pick up your phone, swipe, punch in a password, find the app that you want. By that time, you're fucking awake and you've totally lost it. I want something where I can reach under my pillow, pull the device out, click the button, and go, blah, 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 stop, boom, and go back to sleep. That easy. They don't make those anymore. Actually, they do. They're like these little analog fucking devices. They're like $150, $200 now.
Look, I've had this one for a long time. It's a little recorder.
Wow.
Look how it's a Sony.
It's an old Sony.
I don't even know how old it is, but
I've got one. Didn't cost a lot. I use it when I go on my paranormal investigations. It's got like 10 different slots on it, so you can record. I don't know. I think it's got up to 2 hours. And you can keep them. Yeah, I've got one.
It's a Radio Shack. This is a box.
Radio Shack. That tells you how old that is. When was the last time? I haven't seen a Radio Shack in 20 years.
Okay, so when you're in sales like I was, because I used to sell billboards all over the country, so I'd have to go into meetings and I would use these things because, I need to remember what the hell was said.
I still remember the old Radio Shack commercial, admittedly, a Tandy Corporation or a Tandy Company. Yeah, I still remember that stuff.
I would have never pulled these out if you hadn't said that. Yeah, if you
I almost bought one of those micro cassette recorders. I almost bought one like years ago just to record, what your info, whatever you came up with. Even that would be handy for you next to your bed. Yeah, I don't mind writing it. I don't mind actually writing it.
It's great for notes, leaving yourself notes on this thing. You can actually code it out. Kind of got a little more function.
Yes, Clive, Gail does paranormal investigation. She goes on ghost hunts. She's had some wild fucking experiences recently, too. Ah, yes.
Awesome.
And true, though, that's the other thing I just thought of real quick, too, is that you never know. I mean, I'm not ruling anything out, like we've been talking about. Any piece of the puzzle that any one of us or someone else comes up with that, you actually connect with, and it's like, but I should say, and it's like what Maury's even mentioned, and you mentioned like what even Dawn had said, how the use of the words we use, the but and following it with something in addition to, that's sort of like a learning thing. You learn, that's one way to add on to it.
Shifts the meaning.
Yeah.
Spelling, spelling. We've been spelling ourselves out for so fucking long. It's like you wonder why Yoda says everything backwards. Okay.
Ah, there you go. He's reversing it.
Oh, yeah. Everything backwards.
We're spelling ourselves. We don't even speak right.
And it goes deeper than we think. I've been doing some really deep thinking lately, and this backward stuff, upside down stuff is deeper than we think it is.
And everything's inverted here.
Thinking and not connecting. Yeah,
inversion is the name of the game here. It's the mirror realm, I think. I mean, in all ways, everything's fucking the opposite of what it should be.
Well, you know what we're watching right now in our house? We're watching Stranger Things. Because it starts next month. It's the upside down. And so there's times when I'm sitting there, I literally been like, are we living in the upside down?
Yeah,
are we in the upside down? Because this, it's feeling like it went from.
Look at the energy. We have to ingest the energy of other beings to survive. That tells you right there.
Yeah. I want to put out a little hello to our youngest viewer right now and say, hi, Arlo Benson. Hello. I'm glad you're enjoying the show. Don't use the naughty words that I'm using.
Say hi, buddy.
Hi. Look, you're on the radio. Kind of TV, sort of. Internet. You're on the internet TV. My boys are in bed, I'd like to think. But they're probably not. They were playing Sims when I left. They were supposed to be in bed, but I have a feeling they're still playing Sims. I'm telling you, that's a creepy game. That Sims game just keeps freaking me out. Like the way you kind of program all your Sims to do, you give them personality traits, and then you can go in and change their personality traits, and you're like, anyone else a little weirded out by this video game? And people just do. It's weird. The kids just got. They'd been begging for. There's a new update or not? I got, what do they call it? Like an expansion pack that was on sale on Steam today. And and now they've got aliens. Now they can have aliens, and they can have all these different wardrobe changes and job changes, etc. You can be a spy. You can be. And I'm just like, wait. Your main choices of job are, one of the main ones is spy. Wait, who are you spy for? And they're like, oh yeah, and if you want, you could actually become like a double agent spy, become an evil spy. I'm like, who programs these games? Like, seriously? They're kind of freaking me out, man. But I watch the kids playing them. They're designing the people and designing their personalities and what their life goals are going to be, setting up their conversations with other Sims, and I'm like, I kind of feel like I live in a Sim world myself now. Like the conversations you have with people in public, like at the shop or on the bus, you're like, am I a sim? I'm just, yeah. And if I'm a sim, can my sim, Anne and I would both like to know if our sims could have physical makeovers, please? We'd like a reboot, because like this one ain't working so well anymore. We'd
Yeah, I'd
like
like
an
to have my
upgrade.
ass back. Can I have my
Upgrade?
ass back? Yeah.
Yeah, I need an upgrade. Somebody like upgrade my sim, please, for me. Yeah, exactly. That was it, Dan. We said a do-over. We need a do-over, please. We'd like a do-over on aisle 1, please. Please, do-overs. Everything. I started off with saying from the knees down. I was like, okay, from the hips down. Wait. No, from like here down. Just like literally, I just need a fucking do-over. Just give me a new physical. It's a definite tweaking. Yeah, that's right, Clive. It does say that I'm an alien on my resident card. Who knew? Look, my resident card even says that I'm an alien. So there you go. I'm an alien. I'm a legal alien. There you go. Actually, right now I'm an illegal alien.
That's what I felt like. I just don't feel like there's been many times I felt like I'm not from here.
I don't think we were ever supposed to. I don't think we were ever
and it is a song, and I've just song cued myself, and now I have a new song going through my head. Thank you.
Dan, I got a question for you. Did you ever get that passport thing straightened out?
The residency card? No.
Yeah. No.
Still waiting.
Oh, geez.
Still waiting.
Okay. All right.
Still waiting. That's what I said. Technically, I'm an illegal alien right now because they still haven't got my residency card done. It's only been a year and a half. Come on. Seriously, have some patience with these poor guys who are so overworked in government agencies. It's asinine here. I shit you not. It is completely asinine when you have to do this kind of stuff. Clive, how long ago was it that it took 6 weeks for you? Because this is the whole thing. It's supposed to be 6 to 8 weeks. That's what they tell you. And yet I've met more and more people. It was like 6 months. And then our extreme, which has been like, a year and a half. Yeah, I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. But it is what it is. Is what it is. Official fucking government agencies are just like, wow. Explain this to your kids. Like, I'm talking to my kids, my daughters, and my eldest daughter especially, because she's obviously, she's almost 17. She's pretty with it with regards to all the shit going on in the world. And she's so frustrated because she was supposed to go to Greece this summer to go visit her best friend is visiting Greece. She was going to go to Greece, and of course she can't go because she can't leave the country because she doesn't have a residency card. We're still waiting. And I was like, but you know what, love? Like, this is everywhere. This isn't a Maltese thing. It's like my uncle who lived in Thailand for 35 years moved back to Canada with his Thai wife. They've been married for 10 years. And it's not like she's like, like little 19-year-old with the 60-year-old guy. His wife is 55. Like, she's only 5 years younger than he is. And still, the insanity to get her into Canada. Like, years it took. Clive, I can't use my passport. I'm not an EU citizen, love. I can use my passport, but as a non-EU citizen, I'm only allowed to be in the country for 3 months at a time. I'm only allowed to be in, so if I leave Malta, and with the exception of going to England, I could literally leave Malta, I can go to England and stay in England for 3 months. Then I could come back and start another 3 months in Malta. But like literally I leave Malta, I have to leave the EU instantly. Yeah, I know. It's fucking insanity. Insanity. Yeah. So
Why it's all going to have to collapse before we can build the anew.
I agree, Star. No, listen, and that's what I see. Like, I'm not talking politics. We're not going to get into politics. But when you look at the financial and the political right now, it is collapsing. The insanity is unlike anything I could have ever comprehended. If you'd asked me a year ago, or like I said, hinted a year ago and given me an outline of some of the shit we would have seen played out politically financially, I would have told you you're fucking crazy just a year ago. We're not talking 10 years ago. I mean, 10 years ago, it would have been like you're on, take this person and lock them away in a straitjacket in an insane asylum because they're obviously completely insane. Just a year ago. And yeah, that's what it feels like. This has to collapse. It has to collapse under its own weight of insanity. I don't know if you guys saw, like, so we all know the Facebook bullshit. Everyone knows about the Facebook bullshit that has just been beyond ridiculous for now months and months and months in building. And then we have the YouTube stuff that started this week with all the sites being banned and all the people being demonetized. Like massive amount of people were demonetized on YouTube. And in such a way as to be ridiculous. Ridiculous that they give you something, oh, well, it's against our community standards. And, you know, like they demonetized me in 2016 for obscene language. Literally, for obscene language. And yet, there are YouTubers out there, like, gamer YouTubers, like Markiplier and PewDiePie, who swear and use fuck as a punctuation to every fucking sentence they say, and they have like 23 million followers on YouTube. Funny, they don't get demonetized. Isn't it funny how they don't get demonetized for swearing? Because all they're doing is just video games. Well, it upped the ante today. I don't know if you guys saw the news out of what WhatsApp has said they're going to do. Anyone? Did anyone see the news about WhatsApp's latest little? Oh, WhatsApp made an announcement that they're going to start suing users if they do things that are against, basically if you do anything bad offline, off the platform, in your regular life, WhatsApp is going to sue you. Like, you can't, and of course WhatsApp's owned by Facebook, right? So they're literally saying that if you do something bad, i.e., I don't know, fucking pick something, you get mad and you throw a milkshake at some politician, they're going to sue you for it. WhatsApp is. Insanity. Oh, I know, John. John, don't even get me started. Of course, let them try.
I was going to say real quick, what you just said, Danny, what you were saying, my brain, I just had a memory from Coast to Coast AM. This guy, Sean David Morton, was on there talking about the pyramid hierarchy render. Like he said, and it stuck in my memory. He said, like he told George Norrie or Art Bell, one of them, he said, yeah, what happens is, it basically collapses under the weight of its own stupidity.
And that's what we're seeing right now. Sorry, I got something in my eye, guys. That's what it feels like we're seeing right now. The things that they're saying, all these social media platforms like Twitter, like Facebook, WhatsApp, Pinterest now is going on a huge thing as well. They made a big announcement today about new community standards type shit. It is complete censorship, 100% censorship, number one. 100% censorship. If you don't toe their agenda line, then you're done. YouTube. And now it's not just, a lot of those platforms that people left Facebook in the last 2 years and went to Minds. Minds is doing the same thing Facebook is. Huge censorship. And I've just been told, I just went through, because of the YouTube stuff, I just reopened up again my DTube account, and I have a BitChute account. So I did a test. I loaded up last week's UnFuckIt discussion on DTube and on BitChute. And then I just get told that BitChute's doing the same thing as YouTube. So all of a sudden, these alternatives that people were going, let's leave YouTube and go to an alternative, but now they're doing the same thing. And this is why, like I said, this is why I'm trying to get everyone to go to PocketNet. It is a great frickin' platform. And I'm trying to get as many unfuckers over there on PocketNet as I can to keep the conversation going. Because it is, at this point, one of the only truly censorship-free social media platforms. And it is decentralized. It is completely decentralized. There are no central servers. So it's not like if their central servers are in the States that they can then be politically strong-armed into doing something. PocketNet doesn't have a corporation. It doesn't have a company. There is no centralized servers. So there is no strong-arm methods that can be used against them. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm trying to get everyone to go over there, because it's freaking awesome. I've been enjoying it. As a beta site, they haven't even launched the full site yet. We're just doing the beta testing right now. And it's been brilliant. You get a little baubles here and there. We have, how many baubles do we have on fucking Facebook? Hello? Daily? I don't have anywhere near as many problems on PocketNet as I have with Facebook or fucking Messenger or God forbid, Skype. So yeah, people are using Linux and etc. on it, all kinds of things. Hey, Bosie, nice to see you. Bosie's doing lots of good tech stuff to try and break PocketNet so that they can fix things before they break. Pulling up all the little things and figuring out any little glitches that are going on. And you're on Linux, right? Linux. So it's working. It's working. And right now, like I said, the big, just before we went live on last week's UnFuckIt discussion, and I was going to put the link up to remind everyone on PocketNet that the show was on, and it went down. It's the only time it's ever gone down. And one of the tech guys from PocketNet came back and said, seems like it may have been a test of the internet kill switch, because their internet it went dead. It completely, all flow just stopped to all the nodes, and it stopped for about 3 minutes, and then it came back on again. Well, they're working hardcore right now, the tech guys on PocketNet, to upgrade the version of the app, the desktop app, to the point of even if your Chrome goes down, your Firefox goes down, whatever browser you're using, even if they go down, the app will still work independently. So this is a major piece, and it's going to be probably another 4 months before they get to that stage. And these guys all have full-time jobs. They all have their day jobs. They all have full-time day jobs, and they're just doing PocketNet. It's their side passion that they put all their time and energy into. So this is it. Everyone wants to talk the talk about how much they hate Facebook and WhatsApp and all this kind of stuff, and fucking leave. The only reason I'm still on Facebook is because I can't get the unfuckers to get off of Facebook. I've only been trying for 2 years, just saying. Deb, so you're using the new Dissenter browser. Oh, I've never even tried that one. Clive, send me, did you email the tech guys for PocketNet? Yes. Okay. And they couldn't get it working on your system. Okay. Well, see, like I say, it's in beta testing, so it's one of those things come and go. And okay, and I just want to go back to the whole prickling feeling. Well, you guys are seeing me sitting here doing this. It's like nonstop this entire show. I literally feel like I'm fucking being bitten alive by bugs, and I haven't seen more than one mosquito all night. And I've sprayed myself down twice. So I don't know. What is this prickling sensation? I'm not happy with it. That's all I can tell you about. Fucking, I don't know.
The effects we're feeling from everything we just said there, D, it's like I think we're all experiencing some, if we can't see it, and there's something big going on with us. We know that. And so I'm just kind of going with it, and fuck it.
I'm not losing my mind, and if I am, everyone else is losing their mind with me, so then I feel like I got company, so it's fine.
Hey, Danny.
Yes,
Danny?
Jane, how are you, love?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good.
I was going to say, are you familiar with Dr. Bergman at all? He's on Facebook. I share a lot of his stuff.
I don't know.
Well, he's a fucking awesome chiropractor based out of California. But one of the things I'll never forget him saying about black seed oil was that much that it'll make your fingertips start to feel tingly. So I don't know if that has anything to do with
No, I've never. That's not my problem. That's pretty much the only place I don't have problems.
Right. But just the sensation. I'm just throwing it out there. Just maybe look at it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Listen. I look at all that kind of stuff, right? And for me, like I switch my oils around all the time. With my C60, I'll take black seed C60, and then I'll switch it, and I'll be taking the hemp seed C60. Actually, that's what I've been taking for the last few weeks. Has been the hemp seed C60. And I've been taking the hemp seed oil. It's like summertime, so I'm making hemp seed oil mayonnaise, hemp seed oil marinades for my dinners. It's been awesome. Awesome. Hemp seed oil mayonnaise, really, really good with fresh basil in it. Just saying. Makes it kind of a lovely light pale green color. My kids are like, why is the mayonnaise green? Why is the mayonnaise green? Shh, shut up and eat it. You'll like it.
It's yummy with a little fresh dill in it too.
Dill, yep. And that's the season here right now. I actually got a whole pile of lovely fresh dill. I went on a walk and just pick it off the bushes as I'm walking by. The anise is just coming up right now as well. So fresh anise. I dug up a really nice anise bulb and put some of that in some salad the other day. Ooh, so good. Yeah, Deb, you and I still have to have the discussion about soap. It is my next great adventure is going to have to be making soap. It has to be. It's the one where I have never crossed that boundary yet, but it has to happen. Absolutely. So we have to have a combo on that one. Yeah, I want to get some argan. I want to make some argan oil soap. That's you're making 11 pounds of lard soap next week. Deb doesn't believe in doing things in half measures. If you're going to make, soap, you might as well make 11 pounds of it. Yeah, I've got to do it. I've got to start making my own soap. I'm really lucky that we have a brand of, no one else in the family likes it, but I love it. We get a brand of olive oil soap here, and it's kind of like just a no-name brand, and it comes in a big, ugly brown bar, and it's ugly. But it is phenomenal. It's real, because it's one of the only soaps I can use that doesn't make my skin feel like it's dried out. You wash yourself, and then your skin feels like it's like stretched over a rack. And this stuff doesn't do it. And it's made with old-fashioned way with pure olive oil. Like I say, the bars are huge. It's about that big around and that thick. And but it just it doesn't have a fancy smell, and it doesn't it doesn't have a fancy logo on it. I like it. Everyone else argues. I think they just don't like the color of it because it's like brown. Well, let's just say, Deb, I need to talk to you about this because I've watched a pile of videos and people contradict themselves, and one person says this, someone else says that. So you're the expert soap maker in the Unfuckers, so you're the one I want to talk to. You're the one I want to talk to before I start experimenting. Yeah, I try to cook by the ton. Our oven sucks. It's gotten worse and worse and worse. You guys have heard me lamenting this for months. And we've got a little antique shop, antique secondhand shop in the village, and he has got the most glorious 1930s gas stove and oven for sale. 85 euros. And I've said I have to scrape up the money together and I'm going to go buy it and I'm going to put it outside and get like a big barbecue cover to go over it so when it rains. But then I've got an outside because right now it's like, for example, I wanted to bake today. It's too fucking hot. You cannot turn on the oven when it's this hot. Even when you're simmering stuff for, like I made bone broth yesterday and the day before that, 3 days of that. And just the temperature of the bone broth simmering in the house raises the temperature up so high. So I've said, keep saying I want to get a stove, like just a little gas stove that I can put outside. It's not like we're going to have any rain for the next 6 months. And that way I can do my baking outside. I can do my simmering outside. I can do all that stuff. Yes, I'm going to go back and steal that. It's even got the little warming oven up top. Like it's got the little tiny warming grill up top. It's like fucking awesome. It's so wee. It's only about yay wide too. It's so tiny. I love it. It's awesome. Yeah, I'm going to go buy that. 85 euros for a gas stove. Little 1930s gas stove with all the bells and whistles. Yeah, that's what I want.
You'll have all your neighbors coming to your place. They'll be smelling the food.
Oh, everything outside. Yeah, exactly. That's okay. Luckily, we don't have too many really close neighbors. We will do as it gets into summertime because all the flats get rented out around us. But for the moment, we still have somewhat a bit of peace and quiet here. Yeah, Bose, I would love to have a log stove, except you have to remember I live on an island that doesn't have any trees. So firewood here is fucking expensive. A little bundle of firewood, like as in it's got like maybe 6 little quartered logs, is about 8-9 euros. So basically, if I could get pellets, I would do a pellet stove. If I was going to set up my own house here, I would get a pellet stove because at least you can import pellets. You can buy like 100-pound bag of pellets and have it shipped in and have it that way. Yeah, we have twigs here, exactly, Clive. We don't actually have trees. We have twigs. We have some shrubs. Nothing that actually really looks like a real tree. Except for olive trees, and if you ever cut down someone's olive tree to make firewood, they'd kill you. So, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. Oh, Deb, that's so sad. Anonymous, who was just in the Twitch chat, Aleppo soap is phenomenal. If you can ever get your hands on properly made, and I suspect that this olive oil soap that I get is probably pretty damn close to the Aleppo soap. Aleppo soap is made in Syria, and it is like old school soap. Like it's made the old ways, raw with olive oil and the whole bit, and it is just amazing. Like miracle stuff. Like I know so many people who've had it and just said like it's the one thing that has cured up like their dermatitis and all sorts of skin issues that they had. And it is literally it's a lye base, Deb. It's a lye base, and olive oils, but they I don't know. And I actually watched it really. If you actually go look on YouTube and do a video and look for videos of the making of Aleppo soap, these guys, they make it in, like, if you can imagine like a warehouse, and the floors are covered with all the plastic wrap, and then they start pouring it, and it's like the one that I watched, it was like, I don't know, 20 meters wide by like 75 meters long, and they pour the soap out, and then these guys come along and they cut it into the bars, and you watch them do it, you're like, how the fuck do you do that? Like, how the hell do they actually, and you know that they've obviously been doing it for generations to be able to cut down all these bars, and they do it and they're walking along it and they're cutting the bars. Amazing. Yeah, so you can get your hands on Aleppo soap. Castile soap is really, really good too, but it's hard to find proper Castile soap nowadays. Even Dr. Bronner's I don't like anymore. I used to use Dr. Bronner's like 30 years ago, and it was really good. And the last few times I've had Dr. Bronner's, it's been like, I don't know, it doesn't.
That's one I used a lot, admittedly. Yeah, I used
Dr.
that
Bronner's, it's one of the, yeah.
a long time. You have the tea tree oil soap and almond. I've tried the almond bar before. Yeah. Now I'm just using something different.
Yeah. Bronner's has changed. Dr. Bronner's used to be really, really good, but it's not the same anymore. I used to have it when my eldest son was a baby, so 28 years ago. I used Dr. Bronner's, and it's not the same anymore. But yeah, if you can get a good proper Castile soap, that's really awesome stuff. That's one of the things I want to look at. I've just been told that there is a shop in Malta that sells Castile soap, so I've got to check it out. Yeah, well, Burt's Bees was awesome until it got bought out by Colgate, and then that was the end of Burt's Bees. Like, it just became shit product. I swore by Burt's Bees stuff in Canada. It was one of the only lip balms I would ever use, other than my own, and now they were bought out by Colgate, and now their products suck. Burt's Bees. There you go, right there. It is the thing. One of the biggest things that's happening right now, if you look around, all these small, independent, natural, and it's not just like toiletries like Burt's Bees, but like cereal companies and food companies, etc., are all being bought up by the big boys. And then they're just warped. And then that's it. Like, the moment they get bought out by these guys, within a year, the product is changed. It's your crap. It's completely crap. Conglomeration. Yeah, Maury. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, making lip balms is really easy. Really, really, really easy to make lip balms. Well, that's it, guys. We're already a minute over time, so we're going to cut it down now. This Saturday, I got excitement for you. The astrology team and I have had a couple of meetings this week. And we're doing, this Saturday is going to be the astrology 2.0. It's going to be at 11 o'clock in the morning my time, which is 5 o'clock in the morning Eastern. I'm sorry, guys, but that's the only, it's the only way we can get our team together from Australia, Malaysia, Ireland, East Coast Canada, and Malta here. We have to do it at that time of day. So you guys will get the recording afterwards. We've had an ongoing discussion going on between all of us for about a month now, talking about your Generation X, Generation Y, Generation Z, and looking at the outer planets and the effects that they have. So we decided, we're going to do a show that's specifically on this topic. And then everyone started digging into it. And Amina called a little meeting yesterday, was like, okay, you do realize there's no possible way we can do this in 2 hours. This is like 20 hours worth of material. There's no possible way to do it in 2. So this Saturday is going to be the introduction. We're going to get everyone hooked in, quite literally. We're going to hook you all into, and then we're going to set it up, and I think we're looking at scheduling it every 2 weeks. Same times, though, guys. It'll be Saturday mornings, every 2 weeks or so. And we're going to start with the baby boomers. And then we're doing Generation X, Generation Y, Generation Z, and Generation Alpha, which is the new generation, 2012. And I'm telling you, I've read through Jules and Amina's notes, and I am just gobsmacked at the shit that they're bringing and how they're analyzing this, according to things like the popular music of the time, TV shows, video games, movies, fashions, etc., and the correspondence as the planets are moving. And like I said, we're only looking at the outer 3 planets, the Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune. Wow. Just wow. You guys are going to have a good time with us. So that's going to start this Saturday. and I will iron out what the schedule is so I can actually put out the full schedule of each one of the waves. We're calling them the waves, not generation. We're calling them the waves. So that will be starting this Saturday. I also will have an interview next week with an unfucker who's got a really fucking cool project on. Really cool project, and they're crowdfunding it. But when I kind of went through and looked at the game that they're putting together, I was like, oh, this is phenomenal. So that will be next Monday night. We won't be doing it live because we're going to have to do it at an oddball time. But that video will be out by like Tuesday morning, North America time. So yeah, got some good fun stuff coming up. Good fun stuff coming up. Okay, that's it for us guys for tonight. I will say good night to everyone from PocketNet. Good night out there in Twitch land. And we'll see you Saturday for Astrology 2.0.
One small step for man.